Hey, what's up guys? So a bunch of people are asking for my opinion on the recent Datamine leak compilation from Xkira on Street Fighter V, as well as the small increase on sales of the game, which now has jumped another 100,000 copies to 1.7. So the Datamine is pretty extensive. It's huge, guys. It's basically a giant summary from the beginning of the game's life to now. So I'll just summarize the new stuff for you guys, but I will leave a link to the original video in the description below if you guys want to check it all out yourself. So the biggest recent find is now there is much more code has been added to the game files on arcade mode. There's more evidence to suggest that it is true. We knew about arcade mode, a long time ago from dataminers who were working on this. I think I made a video on it like 9 months ago, so we knew about this for a while, and even Capcom has commented on it. So it looks like now it's finally ready to launch. There's enough code there for it, so it's more of a question of when. There is lines of code that suggest like there's going to be a bonus barrel stage to arcade mode. It's going to be 10 stages total, and even a mystery boss for stage 10. I wonder who it could be. It'd be interesting if it's a character that's not playable, or maybe some kind of souped up version of a character already in the game, like Nikali or M. Bison. So just looking at the lines of code, it looks like your typical arcade mode. But let's first talk about the release date. So when should Capcom release this arcade mode in the game? Should it be released in an upcoming patch, or should they just wait for the rumored Street Fighter V, or Super Street Fighter V I mean, aka Season 3? So I personally think it'd be better, just to wait. Just release arcade mode when Super Street Fighter V comes out, which will be probably in the end of November or December-ish. I know a lot of you guys are anxious, for arcade mode to finally come out. It's been a long time, and have some offline content to play, but I think it's better, if Super Street Fighter V is, true, then arcade mode will be one of its strongest selling points in general. As funny as that sounds, guys, that, arcade mode is this big thing because it should have been for the game in the first place. We have a bunch of other modes as well, rumored, that's supposed to come in Season 3, such as Extra Battle Mode, Dojo Mode, and the main story expansion. This is the cinematic story. Another huge part of that should be added to the game. Capcom has already said that they're going to do that in the future. So besides the story expansion, these modes also have lines of code within the game as well that support that it is indeed true that they are coming to the game. We just don't know when. So now that we just recently got Abigail, we're probably going to see Manat, the other rumored Season 2 character, probably at the end of September, and then Zeku, the last rumored character, probably at the end around maybe November at the latest, and then we should be see Season 3, aka Super Street Fighter V, kick off probably at the end of December, I'm going to guess. So if Capcom's goal is to increase sales, for Season 3 for Street Fighter V, they're probably going to want to focus more on the casual market this time, as it can really use some help on that side of the game. The two biggest things that Capcom can do to jumpstart the game on the casual side is definitely content, number one. Specifically offline content for the game. And since we know the dojo mode, the extra mode, right? The cinematic story, the story mode wasn't in the game when it first launched as well. And of course, arcade mode, that would help. The second biggest thing is returning characters. Sagat and Sakura will definitely help remedy that fact. I don't even think it matters what characters come after those two. Those are two huge ones. And if anyone hasn't been following Street Fighter V since its initial release, if you're some casual player who doesn't keep up with the news or anything, it'll definitely have a bigger impact when Super Street Fighter V is announced, because it'll be kind of like this rebrand, this reboot, and make it, be like this different product altogether. It's just a better way of advertising for the game. And like I said, just all that extra content, including arcade mode, would be more valuable, because there has been a bunch of content added to the game throughout the year that people haven't been paying attention to. If arcade mode is done very bare bones though, like just basically like your simple 10 stages of survival mode, then Capcom should just release it right away, honestly. If it's going to be something that's not amazing, where they're not putting extra time into it, then they should just release it, because it's not going to be a big deal if it's just this, you know, fluff mode they're going to add for Super Street Fighter 5. It should be something really exciting, right? But the fact that they haven't released it now, you know, kind of suggests, I'm going to assume that Capcom is going to make it exciting, right? And something that, you know, people are going to play for a while. It's not going to be something we just play once and then we're done with it. Hopefully they have like a scoring leaderboard, for example, because there is lines of code found in the game that suggest that there's some kind of scoring mode. And hopefully there's a secret boss character as well, you know, maybe some kind of conditioner. You have to get a bunch of perfects in a row or something, and you get to fight like on a stage 11, for example. And you know, other ways to grind fight money is something I really want as well. If you can rank, like we know you can change the CPU difficulty, that's also found in the lines of code, but if they allow you to just really rank it up to like the highest difficulty setting and you grind it out and play it, you'll earn fight money. Because, you know, just grinding ranked, especially for 50 fight money, is like, it's like nothing. We definitely want other forms of content where we can grind fight money, because right now it's kind of like we have a bunch of content come out and we have new ways to earn fight money each patch, but there's no real like grind, right? And that's basically ranked, is how you grind fight money in the game, but it just takes too long. The whole idea of the fight money system, guys, let me remind you, is that it's the whole like time versus, you know, money situation, where if you're somebody who works, then you obviously don't have a lot of time, right? If you work 40 hours a week, but you have money that you can use to buy the content if you want it. On the same side, if you're someone who doesn't work, you obviously have a lot of free time, and therefore you can play the game more and earn fight money to get that content. So either way, you're spending time or money. That's the whole idea of fight money, but it just seems like even if you do have time, you still can't keep up with the content, so to speak, for the game without actually finally spending real money. That is if you want everything in the game that is purchasable with fight money. Now, let's talk about the sales now. I should mention that the sales of Street Fighter 5 is currently at 1.7 million copies if you look on the main site. So people are still buying the game. The sales are still increasing. Remember, it seems like Street Fighter 5 has been out for a really long time, but it's only been out for like a year. So it's really strange. It feels like I have really so many videos on Street Fighter 5, but it feels like this game's been out for years now. Even though the initial sales have missed this mark, as I've mentioned a million times, I'm sure the esports side of the game has exceeded Capcom's expectations. I'm sure they didn't expect the esports side to take off that well, and I'm sure that's kind of, I guess, compensated for the rocky start of the game. It equals itself out. The stream views are really high for a fighting game, that is. There's many sponsors, there's a ton of tournaments every month, and the game is being televised, right? There's a huge audience. You know, Evo, we had the Disney Channel and ESPN, and it was friendly, guys. It was friendly. So the prize money is also very strong for the game. It's also very worth it for someone to, you know, become a pro in the game and invest their time, because the payouts are huge. And, you know, the pro community in general is full of really good personalities, honestly. Whether it's villains or nice guys or whatever, but there's a ton of big names, and you get a good laugh. There's a lot of help for the viewers, I would say, and for people that don't even care about Street Fighter 5. Even if you don't like the game, there are people that watch the stream just for the entertainment alone. And so that's something that's out of Capcom's control, right? They cannot control how some of these players interact with each other. At least I don't think they can. But it definitely helps, and I'm sure they couldn't anticipate that. So I'm sure it made up a lot for Street Fighter 5's missed sales. So I also think that Capcom, for the most part, they've been following their schedule, right? So basically, like, the whole development of Street Fighter 5, they kind of have this roadmap for the game, at least for the first 2 seasons. Okay, they already know way ahead of time the next 12 characters coming out. Like, people are like, you know, why doesn't Capcom just bring the returning characters now in Season 2? Why does it have to be all new characters? I'm sure Capcom had this all planned out way ahead of time. So the only thing off schedule, I would say, is the emergency balance patch, right? Which was obviously very important. We were supposed to only get 1 balance patch this year, but we had that emergency one. And, you know, Capcom wants to keep the esports, you know, scene intact, because that's the strongest thing about the game. You don't want to upset players, but at the same time, they're being really careful with it, not making sure that the bonus patch was huge, because we don't want to disrupt the balance and force, you know, pro players to switch characters mid-season as well. So, But like I said, the huge risk of Season 2 with all these new characters shows me that, you know, Capcom wanted to do this from the beginning, like I said, and they thought that the initial sales of the game would be, you know, stronger, and the game would be in a better state, so they could get away with just having Akuma returning for Season 2. If they want the game, you know, I think they want all the heavy-hitting characters, the ones that already aren't in the game, for future seasons, the longer seasons, to prolong the lifespan of the game. Like Season 3 or even Season 4, Season 5, you know, really looking down the road, because if we're getting stale characters down that time, you know, it will, you know, the lifespan won't be as long. I think that's what I think their character choice is. You just don't want to have all your crazy characters right off the hop, right? But this obviously backfired hard in Season 2, just having all brand new characters, and they thought Akuma would be just good enough to hold the fort. So back to the data mining, there's also been findings of being able to change the weather for more stages. We've heard about this again, like before the game was even launched, before it was even released by I think it was Ken Bogard, I think. But anyways, there's been an example of a daytime Akuma stage found in the game right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a bunch of more stages with extra transitions down the road, as well as we've seen that being added to the game. We also have a bunch more stages coming. I'm sure nobody's surprised about that either. There's at least 2 more stage slots that are found in the game right now, and one of them is rumored by the line of code that it's rumored to be an Ibuki stage, one of them. One of them was Datamine. It is possible that it's her Ninja Village stage from Street Fighter 3. So, the current trend of new stages in Street Fighter 5 seem to be all classic stages, right? Besides the CPT stage, right, or the character stage for Abigail Metro City, we're having stages such as the classic Ryu stage, the classic Vega stage, and before that I think we had the Thailand stage, right? So all classic stages, that seems to be the trend. So it'd be great to see more, honestly. Have them all back would be nice. They look great in the game. There's also findings of extra costumes coming to the game as well, coming to M. Bison, Guile, Karen, and Ibuki. Yes, Ibuki, guys. They're gonna keep making them for her if you guys keep buying them, so it's your fault. But seriously, Ibuki will now be the queen of costumes over Chun-Li for sure. So, pretty insane, man. But Ibuki's costumes, some of them are pretty good, though. But yeah, it's just, for the most part, stages and costumes. So I think based on the current trend, for the rest of the season, for Season 2, for updates, we'll just be getting the last 2 characters, a bunch of stages, and a bunch of costumes. And maybe arcade mode. Depends, right? Depends how bare bones it is. But I'm sure most of us are mostly excited for Super Street Fighter 5 / Season 3 with all these rumors jumping about. It seems there's going to be a lot of content, and hopefully we'll see a jump in the game. Something similar to what we had with Vanilla Street Fighter 4 to Super Street Fighter 4, which was huge, man. If you guys remember that jump. They had a ton of characters, man, mechanical changes, and a bunch of content as well. So hopefully that's what Street Fighter 5 needs right now. So we're just basically gonna wait, right? We're gonna have a lot of fighting games this year, and it's gonna be coming right at the end of the year, probably at the end of December, depending on just when Season 2 started. Because it started right away. There wasn't a huge jump. Right after CPT ended, we were getting right on with the next season. So hopefully we can hear some interviews or get like a trailer soon. Otherwise, they're just going to announce it at the end of CPT. It won't be a big surprise, but I'm sure everyone will be pumped to see it, regardless, anyone who's been keeping up with the news. So yeah, like I said, guys, I think Capcom is just kind of sticking with the schedule. They had this all planned out, all these characters ahead of time. They're not kind of shoehorning things in besides that bonus balance patch. And I think the esports scene has been keeping the game afloat and have them able to stay on track with this till now. So we'll see what happens, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and be sure to subscribe to the channel, guys, and I'll keep you posted on more fighting game news in the future. So till then, guys, take care.